You're listening to another episode of the Just Go Bike podcast, powered by RAGBRAI. This is the award-winning podcast where we are all about the culture of cycling, just for the fun of it. Your hosts are Murph from the Murphology podcast and AP from Parrot Talk. With tales from all over the nation, come for the bikes, stay for the fun, and leave with a smile. And now here is Murph.
Hey, that's me.
And AP.
Hey, that's me. Well, hey, Murph.
Hey. This is getting crazy. Every time we do like a live recording, we end up wearing the same thing.
I know, but I have a lot of shirts that match your shirts.
Yeah, which is kind of an inside joke. I don't know if people who've been listening to us for a while may or may not know that, like during pre-ride, we have kind of a unhealthy contest that goes on between us two and then a couple other people that do pre-ride. I don't even know if we want to call them out, who they are.
Well, they never achieve as matchy as we do. So
yeah.
Because usually down to the hair we match. Now, we're a little loose now because we're not in competition with anyone.
Exactly, yeah. But we have a lot of outfits that are the same. So I guess truth be told, I did bring a backpack full of shirts so I saw you and then I quickly changed. So anyway, here we are.
I think we'll have to see how many episodes in a row we can do
without
matching. I think it's a lot.
Okay. Yeah. And for those of you listening to this podcast, we are recording a video of the intro. So if you want to check out what we're doing and what we're wearing since we're talking about it, just go to YouTube. Just Go Bike.
This is actually a Just Go Bike shirt.
Yes, it is.
I don't know which side the logo's on. Yeah.
Just Go Bike
it's got
shirt.
a little logo. Yeah. This is one of the first shirts we made for the podcast.
Yes.
So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So it's cause for celebration today.
Okay.
RAGBRAI registration.
Woohoo!
So I thought it was appropriate to do a little toast.
Oh, are we doing shots?
We're doing shots.
On the...
These are silicone shot glasses that RAGBRAI has put out for the holidays this year. So they're squishy.
Oh.
Yeah. So in honor of that, because we're working, I have brought Celsius to toast with.
I'm like, what is in the can?
One of my very favorite beverages. And I'm keeping it a mystery what flavor it is. And Murph is going to guess what flavor it is.
And I got to tell you how much I love these shot glasses because they're like kind of a tie-dye look. They're different color blues. And then it has the OG RAGBRAI logo and it says established in 1973. So if I get this as a gift, I can keep it on my bike and use it. Yeah, are you sure this is Celsius?
Yeah, I should have picked one of the ones that isn't foamy. It's sparkling.
Oh, okay.
So it's like taking a shot of champagne. Just think about it that way.
So what is my goal here?
You're trying to guess the flavor of the Celsius. So cheers.
Ooh, I already think I know.
If we seem really wired for the second half of this, you'll know why. It's
definitely a tropical island, a peachy tropical something.
Well, you got the peach right. It is raspberry peach.
Raspberry peach.
Celsius. So huge Celsius fan, had to do a little.
I am a huge Celsius fan as well. Yeah.
So,
and now we're going to be talking much faster when we get to when it's time to actually do our recording of this podcast interview.
Yeah, we're going to be sharp as a razor's edge. Yeah. And I'm glad to have taken the shot glass. Yeah, so now you just throw it in your bike and you're good to go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so as we said, RAGBRAI LII registration. We should get right into it. We have a special guest to talk to us, and let's say who it is, and then we will cut to our interview with her.
Yes, it's Erica Detterman, my coworker, who organizes registration and merchandise fulfillment here at RAGBRAI. So one of our cornerstone crew members. Can't wait to talk to her. She's always great on this episode.
We should have been wearing some of the garments that she helped design and get here.
Well, we have been throughout other episodes, and we will be later. So
you're right. Yep. All right. Well, here's our interview with Erica, and thanks for being part of the Just Go Bike podcast.
Cheers. And here she is.
Yay.
Hi, Erica.
Hi, Erica.
Hi, guys.
Welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. I think we're making this a yearly tradition.
This is a pretty popular episode because, people are pretty excited about a new year of RAGBRAI, about registration, what's different, what's the same, all that good stuff. So we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Whereas for us, the RAGBRAI season has been begun for a couple months now with the logo and working on merchandise. For a lot of people, this is the kickoff to RAGBRAI. with the registration opening, because this is when you can finally put your chips on the table and say, it is time, I'm going on RAGBRAI. All right. So, Erica, you have been on the podcast a couple times, but let's go over really quickly. How did you get started with RAGBRAI, and what have you been your many roles during the ride?
I started working for RAGBRAI in the merchandise trailers in 2013. Thank you, AP, for hiring me.
Oh, yeah.
You're welcome.
And I started full-time in 2022, early 2022. I started doing customer service and then transitioned into doing registration and merchandise and expo. And now I get to focus solely on registration and merchandise, which is great.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, it's cool. It's been so fun to have you on full time. At first, I only got you 1 week per year, or a little bit more than that. But now I get to have you all the time working with you, and it's just so fun. So awesome. Okay. So that being said, what's your favorite thing about working with RAGBRAI?
You, of course.
Yes, and I did not tell her to say that.
Excuse me. What about me?
Both of you. I meant the you is in the whole room.
There,
Okay.
yeah. Being in this Parrot Talk Studios is probably your favorite part of today, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, of today.
Well, and I have loved seeing you work with the merchandise team, where it used to be my role to run the merch trailers, and now I get to see you do it and thrive doing it, and it's a real treat. So.
Yeah, I love it. I just finished up purchasing our holiday card.
Ooh.
So our crew members will get that, and a couple of other partners and friends. And I looked at all of the photos from the ride, and I was just like, man, I wish I was on the ride right now.
Yeah,
I know.
It was raining, and I was like, it could be sunny in July.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are here today, you're here today, to talk specifically about RAGBRAI registration, which we both know that you've worked very hard to get to this point. But can you tell us a little bit about the process?
Yeah, so we start working on registration for the next year in early June of the previous year.
Oh, wow.
This year, we were able to open early bird registration at the DIP if you stopped by our merchandise trailers and scanned our QR code. So I had to have it ready months in advance. Mm-hmm. And then we fine-tune everything over the last couple of months. I've made AP, proofread, kind of make sure it works right. And then we meet with the team captains in early November and go through everything with them, because there's always some changes. And then it goes live. Mm-hmm. So I'm ready to push the button, so to speak, on the November 14th at 11:59. I love to see who I know who's registered and what the team names are, and shout out to all my team captains out there.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pretty exciting time for us. I'm representing the riders, but I'm sure for you, you're like looking at a computer screen going, oh my gosh, okay, all right, here's some of my favorites registering. It's pretty cool.
We always have a discussion in the office as to the funniest team names of the day.
Oh,
so
yeah.
If you put in a funny team name for you and your friends, we do notice a lot of the time, and we enjoy it. So whether we can call it out publicly or not, we do. Yeah.
And what's the platform this year for registration?
We are using InMotive, which should be familiar to all of the riders out there. It's something we've used since 2020, 2021. So it's tried and true, and our team that we work with there is great.
Yeah. Is there anything that people might need to know about registration this year? For example, like how are vehicle passes working? They were a little bit different last year than this year, I believe.
Yeah, last year we tried something new in trying to work with the towns and make sure that we didn't oversell what our smallest town could really have for vehicles. And we noticed it actually created a lot more stress on the towns and the riders to try to abide by those numbers. So when we opened registration on the 15th, people could start purchasing their vehicle passes. Once the towns are announced and we work with them, if we need to adjust them and make those numbers bigger, we can, but we can't take anything away.
Right.
So just kind of working with them. So we started a little bit smaller than maybe we'll end up with, but having those for sale now will get rid of a lot of headaches for people, or maybe they forgot to purchase one because they weren't available with registration. So it kind of saves on the town's part and all of the riders.
Yeah. It really shows how much we as a team really try to listen to the riders and the towns and make adjustments to benefit everyone if possible.
Some people, I am not one of them, but some people like to wait until they know where the route's going to be. So is there a deadline? Like, does registration close at any time?
we will close registration on June 11th this year, which is a little bit later than what we've done in the past. Part of the reason is to make sure all of our riders can come. If you register late, you pay a little bit more money because the towns start preparing to have a certain amount of people early. They're announced in January, and they really start to be prepared for X amount of riders. So if you register late, that's an addition to the town. And we do increase our price the closer we get to registration.
Yeah, for example, if they're trying to guess how many vendors they might be interested in having, if they think that 10 vendors is going to be enough, and then all of a sudden we have way more people and they have to scramble to find vendors, that's a burden on the town. I mean, of course, they're going to try to do that for us, but the earlier you register, the more beneficial it is to everyone, like you were saying. So if you know you're going to ride, why not just sign up?
Yeah, and save a few bucks while you're doing it. And then it makes us be able to plan and prepare for you guys. I wouldn't want to run out of porta potties.
Yeah.
I think I talked about that in one of our episodes, AP, where I wanted my own porta potty.
Yeah. I think I wrote that in your contract.
Sweet.
Yeah. But if not, don't. Is this recording?
It's now written. No, it's now in print. What's the electronic version?
It's on the
of print?
air.
It's on the air. It's on the air.
Yep. So as we go through registration now, I was doing a test registration. There's a lot of questions for riders to answer. Can I just skip those, or?
I'd prefer if you didn't skip those. We do look at those questions, and that's a way for us to prepare for it. Like, all of those questions are important. The baggage question is really important, especially because we look at the number of people who say yes or maybe, and we may increase baggage by 1 or 2 members. You know, the campground question, when we go to look at town spaces, if we say, okay, this many people answered charter, then we may get a little smaller place or bigger depending. So if you know your plans change, you can always update that question. You can email customer service or go in Motive and change that. But we really look at that a lot.
Yeah.
So give me some examples of those questions. Will you be camping? Yes or no? Will you be hauling luggage? Yes or no? Those the kinds of questions?
Exactly. We have another question that gives RAGBRAI and the Des Moines Register permission to reach out to them. And we've used that question a lot in the past to partner with the Des Moines Register when they look for stories or human interest pieces. Or, you know, we have a question this year that I think AP put in there so that we could reach out to more people and communicate with them if they're interested.
Yeah. For example, if you're an influencer and you plan on making a YouTube video about RAGBRAI, I would like to know about that, because then I can help promote your content if it's good. But yeah, we want to know stuff about what you're like. And I really love the Des Moines Register question, because Courtney Crowder and Phil Jones will reach out to people and actually follow their story. It's especially useful if you have a cause, or you're coming from a really cool place, or I don't know, RAGBRAI is all about wonderful stories, and that helps to really highlight them. And those reporters really read through all 10,000 or whatever responses and pick out the ones where they think they may want to report on them.
My personal favorite question is, how many RAGBRAIs have you done?
Ooh, good one. Yeah. A lot.
I'm creeping up on 30.
Ooh,
Isn't that crazy?
that is crazy.
You need a trophy for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So
We have a space for it here at Parrot Talk Studios.
there you go. Yeah. But yeah, it is really cool. And it's fun to see the people that you met last year as first-time riders register a second time. And not that we necessarily creep on it to that degree, but sometimes they'll catch your eye, you know, as you're going through. So that's really neat. It's just, you got to answer the questions. I was pretending like I wouldn't, but I definitely, you got to answer the questions.
Is there a chance that you will run out of wristbands or registration opportunities?
You never say never. That came up a lot for the 50th anniversary. And I think we want to say no, we'll never do that. But we want to partner with the Iowa State Patrol and the DOT to make sure it's safe. Has that ever happened in the now 51 years we've had of RAGBRAI? No. But we still want to make sure that everybody who is coming on the ride is safe. And so I don't anticipate that happening this year.
Yeah. But still better to register early, just in case. But yeah. Okay, so one of the first times that we get to see the yearly jersey well, the people, the RAGBRAI riders, is through registration. And everybody loves that now $10 off discount that you're going to get for the jersey. So, okay, so can you talk a little bit about what merchandise is available and what are the things that people can see when they've registered?
Yeah, so you have the option of purchasing merchandise when you register. We don't have it yet. It comes in very late January, and we start shipping that out to you guys in February. The only exception is my favorite piece of merchandise, which is our souvenir packs. And those change a little bit year over year. This year, I think they're really special because we're partnering with Boz Prints, which is a local business here in Des Moines that has some really special artists in it, and they've crafted some items that are special to the souvenir pack, and you can only get that in the souvenir pack. One of my favorite items in the souvenir pack is the finisher token, which was something we gave away for the 50th anniversary, and now we've added to the souvenir pack. So it's just a special little trinket. And people, I'm a collector, so I have them on my desk for the last 2 years.
Yeah, that is really cool. I think people are going to want the souvenir pack this year. Yeah. And the jersey is pretty cool. It matches the logo. It was highly anticipated. It's got that sort of red, white, and blue theme that's really eye-catching. But we have a couple of new women's options this year. Can you tell me about the tank top?
Yeah, so we changed items this year a little bit. And for any of our ladies out there who've gotten the Gemini tank in the past, you may know of some of the issues that we got complaints about with bunching and just the fit of that item. We went to Primal and worked with them a lot to make sure that we had a better item. And they came out with a new tank top this year. It's called the Astera tank. So the fit is really similar, but it's just a different option. It's kind of similar to the Gemini tank, but it doesn't have that built-in bra anymore.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
I'm pretty excited for that. I think women are going to love it. And any man who might want to wear it. I don't want to be discriminatory, but
Right.
yeah.
The man might want to size up a little bit.
Yeah. So, yeah. But that's really cool. And it was really nice to work with Primal and get some, take the feedback and run with it.
And then one of the other new items this year we've never done before for women is women's bibs.
Woo!
Ooh,
Woo! Finally.
very, very happy with that.
Yep. That's what I'll be wearing on pre-ride.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got a pair on pre-ride, was it last year? And they were a fan favorite.
Yeah.
So we're going to bring those and see how people like them. And hopefully they're an item that's here to stay.
Yeah. Love
Wow,
that.
that is awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah. So, what are some other, you get a lot of questions about merchandise, but what are some other common questions that you get that we should talk about? And I'll start with a question. Where will my packet ship? Will it go to my team captain or will it come to me?
That's a really good point because we changed that this year. We try to get better every year at things. And I think for those of you who rode in 2024, the fulfillment of packets was way better than 2023, and they got out even easier. I worked a lot with that team to see how during 2024 that we can make it better for 2025. And one of the biggest issues is our teams. We decided to make it more efficient and get these packets in your guys' hands earlier that we're going to ship to each individual. Now I say that, but we won't be shipping international packets. Those people will still have to pick up at the expo at the start town. But I think that'll be great because then you don't have to worry about getting it from your team captain or missing it, or if you change teams, or, some team captains just don't like that process. It's a lot. When I met with them, all of the team captains were ecstatic about it. It was probably the best news I could give.
So you can still be part of a team, but your personal information and your personal wristband and such will come to you directly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And that means it's really important to make sure that your address is correct in the system. If you move or you need to make an update, you better email us at info@ragbrai.com.
Yeah,
Get that changed.
Aaron will get you taken care of.
Yeah. So are there any other questions that we should be covering about registration that are a common question that you might be getting?
So one of the very big changes we did this year, just based off of problems last year and the last several years, is we no longer will be allowing transfers in 2025. Since I manage our registration, I've looked at how many transfers we actually have in the system, and we only had less than 2% this past year.
Oh.
So I think for the safety of our riders and making sure the correct person is wearing the correct wristband and making sure that we know who's really going to be on the road and that the riders are prepared for everything, we're not going to have that. With that, we did change our refund policy a little bit.
Yeah.
So a lot of this information is also on our website, but we did change our refund policy before our deadline was in May, and now we've extended it to the very 1st of June. After that, no refunds will be offered, and then we have tiered pricing. So if you register November 15th and then December 1st, you get hey, I'm getting married in RAGBRAI time. If you cancel then, the only thing that you won't get back is your processing fees.
Yeah. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. And I think that's fair, as we get a little bit closer to the ride, your refund will diminish slightly.
Yeah.
But since the towns are preparing so early in advance for these riders, I think that's just something that we have to change this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It really makes sense. Like what we were talking about earlier, where the towns are really using your information to prepare. We've sort of put in that amount of work into it already at that point. So, but like you said, all the registration refund information is available on ragbrai.com. So you can go there and look and see the details. But I think it is going to be a good change. Anyone who went into the refund transfer group last year that I managed, it was kind of the Wild West over there. So this kind of takes care of that and makes it so people are more secure with the wristband that they know they're purchasing because it'll come directly from us.
Exactly. And with our refund deadline being so far out, registration closing 6/11, I think people have plenty of time to purchase a registration if they want. And we still sell day bands on the ride. So if you or last minute decide that you want to join us for a day or heck, even the whole week, you can come to the expo or the merchandise trailers and we'll get you taken care of.
Yeah. And now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, in reality, there's only a gap between 6/1 and 6/11 where you could buy a wristband online and not get a refund.
Yeah.
That's pretty minimal. So I think people can handle it.
But we do have something we started offering in 2024 called the protection plan. And if somebody purchases that during registration and they have one of the qualifying reasons, they get a full refund. And that's up to a certain amount after the ride. So if you, God forbid, break your leg going to the ride, you could email that protection plan and get a full refund.
Yeah.
It seems like so far away now, but do you remember that airplane issue that happened on Expo Day?
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
That would have been something completely covered under the protection plan, and they would have gotten a full refund.
Yeah.
So I think, I personally would add it. It's a percentage of your total registration. So I think for a week-long rider, it's around $40.
Yeah.
So anybody, I would recommend adding it because, if you break your leg or if your bus breaks down on the way to RAGBRAI and you can't get there,
Yeah. It's just really nice to have. So we have all sorts of, it is changing, but we have all sorts of different options. And I think it's better overall for the rider.
Yeah, I think so. And then, I always worry about the transfers and you're going to buy it from this person. They're responsible for mailing it to you. And then those people show up at the expo. They didn't get their wristband. They're freaking out. Of course we're able to help them, but just getting rid of some of that stress.
Yeah. Yep.
I love it. I also think it's amazing that people are allowed to register up until June 11th, you said. And then somehow all the elves that I don't know how they do it, but they pull together the wristbands, the bike bands, if I ordered a jersey or merchandise and gets all of that to me before I go on RAGBRAI.
Lots of caffeine.
Yeah. Shout out to the elves. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And then, we're so far away from actual RAGBRAI, but it's stuff that's on people's minds. You spoke about the vehicle pass, but is now a good time to think about, where I'm going to park and how I'm going to get from the airport and all of that good stuff? Or what's my resource?
I think it's always a good thing to have that in your mind.
Yeah.
But it's a little too early to be planning for things when we don't even know the route.
Yeah.
I don't know the route. I have my suspicions, but last time I swore to AP I knew the start town and I lost that bet.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not making any bets this year on what I think the route will be. In January 25th is when the route will be released. So if you're local to Des Moines, come to the Iowa Bike Expo and the route announcement party that night. But January 25th, we'll announce the route. And then those towns still need to plan a little bit for all of these things. It's the hope that they'll be able to have some more information in early March. And that's really when you'll think, okay, how am I going to get from my car to the start and finish? A lot of the charters won't even have those services available yet because they don't know where we're going. So think about it now. And then our website is a wealth of knowledge. Following us on social media is great because we'll post, hey, the ending town, their long-term parking is available now. But yeah, just kind of know you need that information and maybe set a calendar alarm in your phone. March 1st.
Oh, there you go.
Buy your long-term parking pass or look into it because it may not be available March 1st. I think last year some of them were April and May.
Yeah. I think maybe now is the better time to think, okay, who's going to be my driver? Lock that person in and get them registered.
Yeah, there you go.
And decide, am I going to leave a car in the beginning town or the end town, or am I going to take a charter to shuttle me out from one to the other? Make that decision, and then you can buy the details or arrange the details later once the towns make their decision. So
Right. And since those, the end town and the beginning town don't know that they're going to be part of RAGBRAI officially yet, the day it's announced, which you said was January 25th, it's not like those towns are going to be like, boop, all right, we have 7,200 parking spots that we're going to have ready. I mean, they have to gather themselves, first celebrate, then get all their committees set up, and then, get in a car and drive around and figure out where they're going to put people. But yet, as Matt and Ann are going across the state and prepping these different communities, I can only assume, I know the answer, but that's part of the planning process. Like, all right, town A, if you want to have RAGBRAI come through, you have to be able to accommodate this many people. So it's definitely happening behind the scenes, but like you said, it's a little bit too early to start stressing about it now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, one of the things our goal is this year is to have more communication out for the riders, including a town hall that starts in February. And I know AP has a lot more information about it than I do, but make sure you join that town hall when we start scheduling it out, because somebody might ask a question that you don't know and you're like, oh man, I got to figure out how to do that, or I want to do that.
Yeah. Yep. We'll have more information about those pretty soon, but not quite yet. So to wrap things up, let me just ask you a blanket question. If they have more questions about registration or their wristband packet or their merchandise, how can they get a hold of us?
You can always email any questions to info@ragbrai.com. We have an amazing customer service team, including Erin, who has worked the patch stop the last 2 years and works RAGBRAI all year round. So she knows a ton of information. Anything she can't answer, she always passes along to the rest of us. So we work on getting that inbox and those questions cleared out as a team.
It usually only takes her 24 hours at the most to answer questions. So she's a rock star. If she takes longer than that to answer you, then you probably spelled RAGBRAI wrong when you emailed us. I can almost guarantee it, because it really doesn't ever take her that long. So
yeah, and that's true. I know I emailed her the wrong email the other day because her last name is spelt funny. I spelt it funny, and I had to go back and be like, oh, I sent that email to the wrong one.
Yeah.
So my computer lately has been flipping the I and the A in RAGBRAI. So just make sure that you send it to info@ragbrai.com. And then if you don't hear back from us, even within 4 days, I would say send another email.
Yeah, double check your spelling and send another email. Or you're always welcome to reach out to me on Facebook, on the RAGBRAI Facebook page. I'll be there. I can always either answer your question or say, here's Erin's email. Here's the customer service email. She can help you. So
we're getting her a very big present for Christmas this year.
Yeah, she deserves
nice,
it. Yeah.
nice.
So anyway, well, thank you so much for joining us, Erica. You deserve a big Christmas present this year too, because you've done an amazing job getting registration set up.
Thank you. I always have a big weight off my shoulders after registration is live, because I'm like, oh, it's working. There's no problems.
Yeah.
I love seeing all of that stuff happen and come to fruition after months of planning. So
Yeah.
The next big thing is route announcement.
I'll look forward to having you on the podcast at a minimum a year from now when we launch registration for RAGBRAI 2026.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a date.
All right. Thanks, Erica.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Well, listeners, that is it for today. We want to thank you for tuning in to listen to the Just Go Bike podcast. If you would like to contact Murph and AP with a comment about the podcast, or maybe even you have a topic in mind, you can reach us at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and watch our intros on YouTube. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, especially if you're a fan. That is going to do it for this week. Until then,
Just go bike.
Theme song by Ryan Steer. Logo by Suzanne Milosevic. Produced by Kathy Murphy. Social media by Andrea Parrott. Intro by Pumpkin. Until next time, just go bike.